So in the last video, I talked about the fact that there's a variety of different strategies that you can actually use and resources that you can use to prepare for a content assessment within the Summit platform, whether you look at the week page, whether you look at the content assessment or the learning strategies page that I'm in right now. There's a lot of ideas. And I wish I could tell you to use this one, but that's really not the right way to go about this. The right way about this is you try one, you see if you like it, you see if it works for you. If it doesn't, you try something different next time. And that's why keeping track of that and how much time you invest on it, if the time was worth it, if you got distracted, if you got motivated, if you got focused, how you felt about it, that is key to help you pick better next time around. And so doing that intentionally and reflecting upon it is also important. But anyways, I do want to spend some time talking about my favorite strategy. The first one of them is taking Cornell notes. So Cornell notes is a simple method of note-taking, which essentially what you do is you create a page, kind of looks like this, where half the page or the left side or the left column will have the information that you need to memorize. So this will be the key terms or your list of the objectives. And on the right side, you will have main ideas, concepts, pictures, examples, things that you need to define the key term that's on the left. And then on the bottom, you will summarize everything that you included on that page. And you do that every page, every time you complete a page worth of notes. So let's show you a different example of that same thing. So here is another example of Cornell notes setup. So the student will actually write a question, and on the right side, they will write the answers for those questions, right? Another question, the answer for those questions, they will define the key terms. And at the bottom, they will write a summary of everything they wrote on the top. And they will write a title on top, also maybe the date on which they took those notes on a header. So here's another example of doing exactly that. So the advantage of using that basic format of key terms on the left, notes on the right, and summary on the bottom is also, first of all, that summarizing helps you pause the learning process and engage in, okay, let me stop and review what I've learned so far, which helps you go over one more time. But then also when you're studying, what you can do is you can get a different piece of paper and cover the right side up of the paper and then read the word that's on the keywords and then see if you can remember the information that's on the right side. All right. And that takes us to a study strategy, which is self-quizzing. Or you can actually give your notes to a friend and have your friend quiz you and vice versa. But what you can do is actually put a little plus sign on the words that when you ask yourself you knew, and a negative sign on the ones that when you ask yourself you don't. And I also tell students to not study in order. Go to the key terms and questions that you have on the left side in random order, because sometimes you end up memorizing the order instead of the actual definitions. But anyways, as you go through each one, complete your entire set of notes, right? And then go back to the start and then work again on all the words that are still negative. And ask yourself again, cover the right side, say it out loud, because it helps a lot to say it out loud or rewrite it. Either one of those is extremely well to help you remember it. So here's more strategies I'm giving you. So this is how I like to study when I was in school. And then I would release and see if I was right. If I was right, I would change that negative sign to a positive sign. And I'll keep jumping around, not doing it in order. And I do that through the entire set of notes until everything is positive. Right? Now, once everything is positive, I'm not done. I put it away. I go study or go do something else. And then I come back to it another day or hours later, and I review it one more time. If they're still positive, I put check marks next to them, and that tells me I'm ready to take this test. But if I demote a sum to negatives, I have to start the process over until everything is positive again. And then hours later, try it again until you can turn it to check marks. You can never turn it into a check mark unless you've studied it. It's been a bunch of times since you've actually looked at it before. So there are a lot of resources here within the Summit platform, including videos that will break down in more detail how to do Cornell notes and how to use them to study. I am just giving you a basic overview, but I strongly recommend that you actually take some time to look at the Cornell notes or attend a workshop after at school that will talk about in detail how to do this. The reason I'm not recording one myself is because these are so good, the ones they have in Summit, that I really do think that you might as well just use them. Another one of my favorite strategies that I actually already talked about that is this idea of chunking goals into smaller ones. So if you have a deadline for a project, or if you have a task that you have to pass by a certain date, you actually take that goal and think about what are all the things I need to do in order to get that done. And then you separate that in different days, and you make a goal for each of those days. And I talked more about that already in the previous videos, so I'm not going to repeat that. Another idea that I like is the idea of, oh, by the way, one thing I like about chunking is that the goal doesn't become this like huge goal that it gets overwhelming. I just think about the next thing, the next small thing that I can do to get it done. And that helps you focus on the present. It makes you a lot more motivating. So I really love chunking goals, and I really encourage all my students to do so. I already talked a little bit about testing myself with the check mark, plus, and negative sign system. Studying with a friend is the same kind of idea, except that you and your friend would quiz each other. And I really like that because teaching somebody else is the best way to become a master, right? Working with a teacher is this idea of like working one-on-one and kind of doing what you would do with a friend, but then you can clarify questions that you have, and it's an expert that's actually teaching you. So if the teacher's available, that's a great thing. Even if it's a workshop when it's you and 5 kids, it's all, it's still helpful. And again, each one of these resources is actually going to have more information inside, including videos, materials on how to do this. But the next thing I want to kind of show you is that I have a whole document where I break down study skills. And then with my mentor group throughout the year, I am going to do one lesson a week on a different kind of study strategy. And so I'm not going to record all these videos right now, but as the year goes by, I will create a different playlist where I talk about each of these study strategies in more detail. But one of these documents is actually linked on the onboarding second page, and it says study skills. And this is my personal collection of study strategies, or a Bible on how to be an awesome student. And if you are one of my students or you follow my channel, once a week I will be going over one study skill to help you be successful. Whether it's a strategy to actually do well on the test, or whether it's something that helps you prepare notes, or whether it's a way to study with somebody else, or even a way to get organized. And look forward to that separate series that we're going to go into. But for the purpose of this video, I just wanted to point out that Cornell Notes with self-quizzing or quizzing by a friend is one of my favorite ways. And then second to that is, instead of doing Cornell Notes, doing the same kind of thing with flashcards. So what I do with flashcards is that I will make a flashcard, and then in one side of it, I will have the keyword that I need to know. And then the other side, I'll have the definitions and maybe a picture or visual of what I need to memorize, right? And then I will make several flashcards like this for all the key terms and for all the objectives, and then make a pile. And then in that pile, I hold it in one of my pockets or put it on my desk. And then I take it from that pile randomly, and I shuffle every time. And then I take one and I say, okay, do I know this one? And then if I know it, and I can say it out loud or rewrite it, right? I love rewriting it without looking. Then I can give myself, move that card to the pile of things that I know. If I did not know it, I move the piles of things I did not know. And then I go from that middle pile to the other piles until I'm done with the middle pile. Then I get the pile of things I don't know, and I work on those again, put them in the middle, and then start over until you move your entire pile to a side of things you know. I really love flashcards. And there are apps that will do this for you. Quizlet, Quidia, a lot of different apps that you can use to create that virtually. And then use it on your cell phone. And then you can swipe left for things you know, swipe right for things you don't know, if you prefer doing it that way. But I really love the mechanical aspect of writing. There's a lot of research that shows that when you do that, it actually connects better with your brain. So that's another strategy that I like to do a lot. So either Cornell Notes or flashcards are definitely my favorite strategies to take notes and quiz myself. And you can also quiz each other using flashcards too, if that's the way you want to do it. So I wanted to take some time to at least share my personal favorite strategies. But remember, this is only a salad bar of options, right? Now, the other thing I want to talk about is what is my favorite resources. And I will do that on the next video. I'll see you guys then.